part of what we're doing with the Palestine House with the US Embassy in Jerusalem, and hopefully we're continuing with the program throughout 2015 and sending 10 more teams to the Silicon Valley. At the same time, we're planning to host 10 other guests, hopefully with a strong bio as Drake in the next year. So thank you, Drake. I'll leave everything that I missed for you to further elaborate on. Thank you.
So I don't want to do a presentation because it's just us. So why don't we use this as a chance to, I'm going to ask you guys questions. You don't have to answer them here, but I'm going to ask them to provoke you. I want you to think about your own businesses and make sure I'll send everybody the questions in email form. But if you can get through this exercise and answer the questions to your own satisfaction, chances are you'll be prepared to meet any investor, you'll be prepared to recruit any new employee, no matter how well educated, no matter how well connected. You'll be able to partner with any firm within Palestine or within MENA with a degree of substance and confidence and not feel like you're out of your depth. So, that's why the informal approach to it. My name is Drake, you got that already, and in the spirit of getting a little acquainted with you guys off the business stuff, something you may not know, I started my first company when I was 14 years old. Now, prior to that, I lived in orphanages. I lived in 9 orphanages as a child, so I know my way around what it feels like to not have. My first business when I was 14 wasn't a fancy business, it was a janitorial business. I cleaned. But I've always had this kind of attitude as a person. So if I'm going to clean, I might as well clean something very big. So I went to a department store called Mervyn's. It was 80,000 square feet. It's a big store. And I asked if I could clean it. But the trick was that I wore a tie as the janitor. And the manager was like, actually the name of the business was Razzmatazz. I named it Razzmatazz. Well, why did you name it Razzmatazz? And why are you wearing a tie? And I said, because the hours were from 2 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock in the morning. And when we finished working, all the employees and all the customers are coming. So I told them that this way nobody will know the janitors are still there and will look professional for them. So, there should be a discreet way for you to enter, but when you come, all eyes turn on you. No, please. It's raining outside. It's not. I'm from California. It's not dissimilar. In any event, so that first job, I was 14. I had to hire 5 employees. All of them were, 5 years older than me, 6 years older than me. And it was an interesting experiment because what it taught me was that at the time I wanted to scale, not one house, but a whole department store. And that's kind of been the mark ever since. Okay, so one other thing. California, very laid-back lifestyle in many ways. That's the reputation. It's not real, but that's the reputation. New York, very fast. When I fly to New York, people in New York tell me to speak more slowly, please. So, given that you're listening to me in English and not Arabic, and thank you for letting me speak in English to you. If you need me to slow down, just let me know. We would have an awesome session. Because, thank you. That's great. So, it's all right. It's all right. That's exactly what I was hoping for. So if it gets, and I get excited. So if I get excited, let me know. Okay. Because me standing up here being excited isn't the goal. If I can take something that I've learned and one thing works for you, and you can use it to build a stronger or a better service or company, That's the goal.
Yes.
So there are a couple things that I think, kind of practically speaking, before we get into the value proposition questions and the business plan formation. Just one entrepreneur to another entrepreneur. The first thing I'm going to say, which kind of sucks, why not start at the beginning with something that sucks? Not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is like in Silicon Valley. Everybody says, I want to have a startup. That's the thing. I want to have a startup. I want to have a startup and I want to get venture capital. I want to have a startup, I want to get VC money, and I want to IPO. That's what they say. Well, what kind of a startup? Oh, I'll figure that out. Like, the entrepreneur is the new rock star. Everybody wants to be one. They're not sure how they're going to get there, but that's what they want. So, not everybody's meant to be an entrepreneur. And in a way, the reason I'm saying that to you is because you see a Steve Jobs or whoever your role model, and you can look at some people here, but whoever is in your mind's eye of a great entrepreneur, it's not like they woke up in the morning and said, hey, I'm going to start a business, and then at midnight that night, they were some big success. It takes a long time. Some of you have heard me say, it takes a long time to become an overnight success. And the road from startup to when everybody recognizes that you're a success, you lose sleep, you lose money, you lose relationships, you lose hair, you lose a lot. And there's nobody to talk to because you can't cry about it. You can't, oh man, my life sucks. Who wants to hear it? Especially if you're the boss.
His company is a
That's very funny. The problem, we haven't spoken yet about it, but I need to find out how have you created a security protocol to prevent people from hacking in and getting your transcripts? If it's transmitted, it's recorded. Okay, good. Then maybe I can. Maybe other entrepreneurs. You should have an entrepreneur forum. Because it sucks. I mean, it's particularly challenging when you can't make payroll. And you know it's coming. Everybody needs a paycheck on Friday. Your investor is going to give you the money. It's Monday. It's coming tomorrow. Tuesday. Payroll's on Friday, Tuesday. It's okay. So you don't freak out, but you're nervous. Tuesday comes, cell reception's bad, investors on an airplane. Now you're really nervous. Now you don't sleep. Now it's Thursday. And you wake up in the morning and your normal coffee and you're very friendly. And so you say something nice. This is Thursday morning. And you bark. Or you just say no. And the coffee guys. Thursday night, no funding. Payroll's due tomorrow. You get the picture. Payroll, rent, a contract, a key feature in your software that doesn't get built, bugs don't get broke, whatever, times 10. More or less every month. It's the opposite of that. It hurts, it sucks, very hard. But then you see this idea, this disturbance in your heart and your soul, you see it come to life. You were going to interrupt me earlier. No. So it's not for everybody, and if I could in any way like shake the tree right here, leaders, shake it really hard and have a couple of you just fall off. I don't know who, but just have a couple of you say, I don't want that. That's a good thing. Some of the rest of you are going to take my words as a challenge. No, I'm committed. I'm serious. It's not true. Okay. But it's still not true. And that's tough. But then again, hopefully, there's an expression in English, experience is that thing you get just a couple minutes after you really need it. So may this be part of your journey. All right, you've heard this probably from everybody in your team, but this is just one of those ideas I want you to write down. You can Google it and read more on it. It's an odd idea, but it is a liberating and freeing idea as developers. The idea of fail fast, right? Rapid iteration. Fail fast. As an idea, it's rapid iteration, rapid prototyping, whatever term you like for it. But fail fast has a fair library of specific ideas, whether it's user interface, whether it's functionality from a UX point of view, whether it's sales. If you have to, he's not here right now. Some of the business plans from this group involve knocking on doors and selling, really hand-to-hand combat. And what's the right sales pitch? What's the right flyer or material or email or phone call? What's the right process for that? It doesn't really matter. Start. You're going to be wrong. And then failing fast means you go back to the office that day, you talk it out with your partner, and you refine it a little bit. 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%. A week, 2 weeks in, you'll have maybe 14, 21, 28 prototypes, lines of code, screens, sales pitches, and you also do something that I'm not talking about. You want to have a beautiful product. You want to have a beautiful service. You want people to love it, and by extension, you. And if they love you, they're going to pay you. And if they pay you, you get rich. And all of your dreams come true. And while you're dreaming about this perfect world, you're not doing it. You're so afraid of making a mistake, of putting out the wrong product, of messing up, that you don't get any progress. Fail fast. If I knew then what I know now, fail fast would be tattooed on the inside of my eyelids. So I tell you, from my experience to you, fail fast.
Excuse me, is there too fast? Maybe it failed too fast? Maybe developer would say, I failed, you did not give it a chance?
Okay, so there are two things that come from that. One, a deeper cultural question that's useful to talk about. But specifically, this is one of the things that's cool about using your gut, using your instinct. So if in fact you have, and I don't want to say A/B testing. A/B testing is a useful tool. Some people are saying A/B testing and fail fast. They're not synonymous. A/B testing is for placement on a screen, process stuff. Failing fast means get your most kludgy version of the product up and give it to your mother, give it to the deli person, give it to your copy person, and have them try it. And watch them fail on the first screen. Maybe not, maybe the second or third screen. So then you go back and you just answer the one problem, the one stick point, the one bug. That in and of itself is an internal balance, an internal rhythm for problem solving. The failing fast, the only way to do that is if you were using my demo, and I'm launching a new software company right now, by the way. And so if I were to give to you it, and before you finish giving me feedback, if I took it from you and went, like, you know, yes, you can too fast, but that's just rude. Did you follow any of that? So it brought up a second point, though, which relates to the culture in Palestine specifically, and it has to do with failure. The question is, have you reconciled yourself to the possibility that you're going to be in this program, raise investment capital, $40,000, $20,000, $40,000, $100,000, and still not get a paying client, and actually have to close the business? In some parts of the world, that's horrible, because it stains your family. It used to be that way in America. fact, failing, take this the right way. It's not pride, but failing on the first attempt, losing money, but you learn how to build a plan, you learn how to raise money, you learn how to recruit, you learn how to build a product. You didn't fail at everything, you just failed at a very important part. Close the business, go back, lick your wounds, cry, drink, whatever you do, and then do it again. The second time you do it, you have more experience. And we're very, very keen right now to invest in people who've already failed once. I'm excited about that, not because I want everybody to fail, but because it relaxes. So I'm hoping that the idea of failing isn't some badge of eternal shame. Okay. The other thing, this is prefacing before we get to the questions, and it has to do with employment. Aside from meeting with many of you, I've also met with the people who currently have businesses, big businesses for Palestine, and they run them. The CEO, the chairman of the company, the chairwoman of the company. And I hear a lot of people talk about employment. The reason we're doing Leaders, or the Innovation Fund, is to create jobs. I don't agree. It doesn't mean that creating jobs isn't awesome. But to say that the goal of a company is to create jobs is not. The goal of the company is to solve a problem, create a solution in the marketplace that's so valuable that somebody pays you for it. And hopefully it pays you more than it costs you to make it or build it. And then you make profit. And then enough people get excited by what you've done and they say, hey, will you do it for me too? Well, we're busy. We only have 4 employees and we can't handle it anymore. Guess what? Job creation. So now we're going to add people. If you want to be helpful to this community, by this community, I do mean literally Palestine. Although I have spent time in a variety of countries that have kind of been kicked onto their heels, off balance, before being back in the halls of their feet. Create sustainable business. Create a solid enterprise for employment. That's rockstar. Those jobs count, because those jobs have people showing up meaningfully trying to build something big.
So when you hear the 8 organizations talk about job creation, how long are those jobs going to last?
As long as the donation check's clear. Come on. Yes, short-term gap, but do you really want to build a life like that?
And since you guys are already raising your hand saying you're entrepreneurs, you're actually singularly the DNA, the genetic code for job creation. Nobody else is going to do it the way you do it. So those of you who are entrepreneurs in this room, think, solve the problem. There's many people as you can, and the more people that want what you're doing, you're going to be forced, even if you don't want to create jobs, to go hire. All right. So this is supposed to be about value proposition. That was the general topic. So I put together a bunch of questions for you. I'm going to ask them out loud. I'm going to be quiet for a second and let you think about it. If anybody wants to answer, knock yourself out. You don't have to write it down, but you can. I'll send them to every one of you. Give me your email address, or send them. You have everybody's email address in this room? So, whether it was Rawabi, I went today. One, I wanted to put my boot on the soil. I wanted to see. But 2, I wanted to look the man in the eye, shake his hand, sit down, and have him tell me why. What woke him up in the middle of the night, seized him and said, build this. Was it pure greed? Was it nationalistic pride? Was it insanity, like he has delusions of grandeur? What was it?
And by asking those questions, I got closer to the core of who the man was. He has a grand vision. It's true. He's very ambitious. But anybody that I've met that started a lead company had that same glitch, that same, I call them future facts. For example, if this were my office and you were with me in Palo Alto, which is a garage, by the way, so this is fancier than my office right now. I'm only 1 week old. But I would walk you through my office and I would describe to you where the departments are and where they're working on lines of code and where our customer service center is. I would see it and I would tell you, and you would look and you'd be like, what the fuck? This bookshelves and these are boxes. What are you talking about? It's because I see it so clearly in my head. It's a future fact. It's not a fact today. I have work to do, but I'm building, and I know what I'm doing. So it's going to build, and then you'll go, oh, that's what you do. So the first point, the first question is, what is your big idea? What is your dangerous idea? What is your grand vision? Put it any way you like. But what is it that, like the first time you fall in love, what is it that fills you with this, my God, I want to build something. I want to build this. Or it goes the other way. Like you get bit every day by some, this isn't a political comment, although it would be great if there was an economic solution to the political problem. But you get bit by something. There's something in your morning, your breakfast, the coffee maker, the commute to work, the trying to get onto Wi-Fi, whatever, that just sucks. And you're like, somebody should fix this. If only there was a solution to this. That question, not the one that annoys you, that's not important, but one that really pisses you off. That's an awesome incentive. I've started 2 companies based on being pissed off. Like, come on, somebody should do that. And I kept saying that, and somebody finds it. Really? Okay. So that was my compelling, that was my glitch. So what's your grand vision? What's, when you close your eyes and imagine some future, what does it look like? And why does the world work just a little bit or a lot bit better because of it? So you're going to be asked by employees, if you're trying to recruit, why should I come to work for your company instead of some multinational? And you're going to have to come up with a very simple but compelling answer. Usually the most truthful, the most clear, is the most successful. So think about it. What is your grand vision? What is your dangerous or big idea? So the way I put it down is, what is the problem you're trying to solve, if that's your approach? More specifically, for whom? If we were sitting across the table today and I was saying, so what problem are you solving and for whom? It should be very simple. I'm solving, I'll tell you in my business case, right? I'm solving a problem for people who are saving for retirement. Answer both questions in one. Simple is good. People have to be able to understand, okay, who are we talking about? Okay, so the other thing, it sounds a bit indulgent, like I'm asking you to play a fantasy game, but the idea of creating a company that doesn't exist comes from somewhere. So for now, I'm going to ask you, I'm sure you've already done it, to imagine a better future. To imagine something in your day that's better because of what you're doing, or will do, than it is today or yesterday. So what are you doing? And for whom? So be really clear on his or her name, his or her age, give her a name. Be really clear. Give her a personality. I know it sounds silly. There's a reason I'm saying go through that exercise, because it forces your mind to really fill in the details. And when you start to waver, maybe I'll go get a job, then you think about Agnes. And Agnes has this issue. Okay, so this is another part. It sounds artful, but it's part of your plan. Size of the market. How big is your market? That's a tough one. We talked about that, right? How big is your market? So you're going to have to be able to answer this kind of to the single digit number. It's not true. You don't know exactly how many billboards, or how many, you know, women between 22 and 28 who want to buy this kind of clothing. But you have to get a sense of how many physical human beings are there, and how many can buy in a given year what it is you're trying to sell, product or service. So I'm going to read this for a second just so you get to the infill of it. So market opportunity and how big is it? What I mean by that is who's in there and is it growing or not? Are more people wanting what it is you're trying to offer or the marketplace you're interested in or not? The fancy term for that is CAGR, compound annual growth rate. So you want to see is how quickly is mobile adoption, apps, something in the app store, mobile gaming. These are incredibly tough businesses, by the way. Which one of you is the gamer? Are you? I saw somebody give a presentation for gaming.
Which point?
Yes. Incredibly tough. Any of you heard of Electronic Arts? EA? Okay. It's in the game. Right. So the last company that I was a temporary CEO of had 5 ex-EA people, all from within their psychological warfare unit. You think I'm joking? These guys are scary. When you do level up, you try to move to the next, so you get to big boss. How you get the end of that level to the next level, that's not accidental. That mania, that addiction you feel, that was written out on a board long ago. And the tricks they use are all right from behavioral psychology. Anyway, so they think about market as it is today, billboards, how many of them are there, and is that space growing? Is the 22 to 28-year-old fashion buyer who's growing? Is the home delivery of groceries? Well, by the way, is there home delivery of groceries today? Not so much. Is that of interest to busy, increasingly to working family, mother, father working? Can you see more people wanting that? Sure. How many more? So you can actually plot that one nicely, right? That's going to grow at 70% per year. Then there's the other side of it, which is sometimes you're in a market that's totally new. There just has never been a market. So you're not going to be able to answer that, and that's okay. But an investor, let's say we're not talking, and I am an investor, and we have a chat, and I ask you about the market. You should be able to very clearly, very credibly say it's a new market. Some people have tried something similar, but there isn't a market today. I believe there's pent-up demand, and it's that calm of an answer, but you have to know your stuff. You have to know if there's a market or not. So not having a big market is not a bad thing, but you should be able to say very clearly if it's a brand new, growing, or mature. And this seems like a high-class idea, but I'm sure you've seen adverts, like for football stars or gymnasts. How many kids, when they're kids, say, I want to grow up and be number 3, or I want to be number 4? Maybe 1 or 2, everybody says 1. Some people actually say 2. But how many say, I want to be the 3rd best, or the 4th best? If you're going to be the leader of a new company, of a new cause, of a new mission, if you're going to ask people to quit where they're currently working to come to work for you, they're going to have to believe in what it is you're driving. So you might as well, while you're playing fantasy pretend, imagine what it's going to take to become the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd market share leader in that space. What will it take for you to be that? Really? Not fake. If you're wanting to go after the carbonated, sweetened beverage that comes in a can business, you're going up against Coca-Cola. Not horrible to do, but you got to know what is it going to realistically take to become number 1 in that space. More. A lot. You just can't say we're going to be more popular, we're going to be cooler or newer. So what is it going to take for your business to become number 1, 2, or 3 in that space? If you don't have an answer to that, you're going to confront an investor who's going to ask you, so how do you become the leader? And you're going to be caught off guard. That's not a good feeling to have when you're in front of a professional investor. They want to know that you've already thought through what it's going to take to be the leader of a meaningful company. How am I doing speed bumps? Still too fast, Bill?
It's not like because that's one verse I don't understand. But it's okay. It's hard for me.
It's okay. It's all right with me if you ask. You know, it's not a, I don't feel you're interrupting. And I feel that since now that we're talking, if you take the hit, if you'll ask, there are probably others that would like me to slow down too, or explain one idea or one concept.
Sorry, like this flow and flow across language, going to the content, it's not practice mentioned.
Yeah, you missed my preface was under the general label of value proposition, we're building to that. Okay? Well, that's like me trying to defy the laws of physics by being in more than one place at one time. To go really, really slow, go really, really fast at the same time. So,
But I think this is a language standard. When I'm talking about
this content. I know I understood yours.
Can I just ask about that last point? When you talk about having a vision to be first or the leader in a certain market, are you referring to actually having a strategy in mind that you want to follow to be able to take on solar, for example, if the solar business, or are you talking about something different?
Something better. It's a question of the responsibility of leadership. It feels good to be the leader, but what does it mean to be the leader? To be the leader means to have thought through how to have an enterprise that's consequential enough to have enough money on payroll, pay the taxes on that, to have a clear business, to have all of the things that make being a credible enterprise year after year. And so, shooting for the moon is great, but without the plan to get there is not anything. So sometimes in Silicon Valley, we'll go through and build a business plan that when the founder, if the founder, God forbid, it's shot dead, it's hit by a bus and dies, that the next in line could pick that plan up next. So yeah, it is from an operating point of view, much more sales than I want to be number two, and if we get a lot of sales, then we'll be number two.
How do we don't get this?
It's going to cost, but how long is it going to take?
The thing is, like in early stage, you really don't have that kind of flexibility to think about the longer term that much, because you more hands-on with the short-term tasks that you need to do day in and day out.
That's true.
And like, figuring how to fit your time, thinking about this and thinking what you have to do today. That's
Right. Having said that, Yogi Berra said that if you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up somewhere else. The idea of trying to, again, whatever the metaphor goes to, a roadmap, a blueprint for a building, a design spec for some software, you have to be really, really clear, and then it's likely that it will get close. So it really is. I can't make it easier, and I can't make it. I don't need to make it more complicated. It's fucking hard. But the idea of being super clear and being able to answer number of employees, which departments, how much it's going to cost, how much it's going to cost to hire them. You have to relocate them. How many people live in Ramallah that you can employ right here? Well, they have to come from another city. You have to pay them to commute. I'm getting to the granular detail, but the point is when you see it that clearly and you can model it, even if you're wrong, you're going to be wrong. What it's done is it helps you answer the following question. is this even a viable business? Okay? If it turns out that you're $10,000 in for a product that you want to sell for $50, but no.
What was your number for your first business? Like, you wanted to be the first, the second, the third, what did you do?
Okay, so first business janitorial, I didn't know any of this at all. As a matter of fact, I was a child. But my first software company, I can tell you, this sounds like a good answer, and it is a good answer, but wait, there's more. Number one.
Okay.
I'm American, I'm supposed to say number one. Fine, I think you've now heard. It turns out, number one, because what I did was illegal. Not immoral, illegal. There were laws against me doing what I did when I did it, so nobody did it, and by doing it, I was in gold. We got 14 million paying customers, so trust me, I didn't stop just because we got the first. We worked like son of a bitches to build, and we got the laws changed. Now, today, 2014, it's a law that you must have.
What's that?
Investment advice and pension plans. So professional investment advice for participants in company-sponsored pension plans. Which makes sense right now, because of course, that makes total sense. At the time, it was illegal. So I made the decision to be number one because nobody else was doing it. And I kept wondering, somebody should solve this problem. Oh my God, somebody should solve this problem. Why do I have to figure this out for myself? Somebody should solve this problem. And then somebody said, why don't you build a company to solve this problem? So this company now, in some ways number one, in some ways number 77. It'll be the first to do what we do, so we'll be number one. But in the general field of asset management, we're going to be way down on the league table. But for what we do, we'll be the best. Or the second. Faster. He's gone now, so we're going to go off for a second, okay? And then he comes back in.
This is not fair for them.
No, yeah, I'm going to email it all to him anyway. Although that may be the solution for you. It's already typed up, already written, I can email to it, and you're done. So, or you can go read it and then come back and get questions. Too much attention? You're like, I just brought it up. Okay, so now on to the issue of yeah, we're getting closer. Okay, so product or service. How do you define your product or service? And in this case, what is it? So I sat across from somebody. What's your product or service? And I would presume you'd be able to say, we sell sugary, flavored, carbonated beverages, refreshing, and convenient and affordably priced. Yeah, sugar water, but there you go. Simple, clean, crisp, refreshing. What's your product or service? How does it solve? Not what problem you solve, but how does it solve? Sometimes you try it. When you guys try to answer this question, when you get the email, ask one another. The answer is so complicated that it makes the problem worse. So, I'm going to scratch this next one.
Can I ask something? I have a vision for a technology that used for the, let's say, closed area or small area.
Security.
Not closed, not closed area. This technology gives services in small area. So I start thinking if I make this service or this technology give services for bigger areas. Who I can give services. I have a list. And I wish.
You're asking me this so that way I feel like you feel right now. I don't fully understand, but I want to.
I don't understand.
So if you have a service in a small area, but you want it to go to a big area.
Yeah. No, there's a technology that offer a service for, let's say,
It was not service.
service treatment.
Oh,
I'm talking about programming.
okay.
for a small community?
For a small community. If I make it for a bigger community, what the service I can give them? In a small area, it's limited services that I will provide. This technology now working in small areas. Okay, so it offers limited services for who can use it. But my vision is to make it for bigger, for wide. Like
Do you want to make it bigger, or you want to do it for more people?
no,
لا هي قصة لغة هو بس مثال ما تكون دائما بسيط مش قصة لغة أنت كيف تحكي فكرتك
بالظبط هذا
هو ما يساعد
Now you feel like active.
Actually, no. I think I have a lot of friends going out. Thanks, guys.
That's why we don't understand this.
عشان هيك.
Yes, we have the idea, that's why what's the service? Because you're making a compliment.
Can you
مش لغة مش مثال
Can you give an analog?
yeah
I will take an example.
Yeah, but
Substitute idea. Okay. So, okay. So next one's who's the customer? I kind of explained a little bit to you during your grand vision who you were solving the problem for. This gets a little more real because we're going to put it on a spreadsheet. Who's the customer? And what I like to say is, you know, if you were the big boss of the movie studio and you wanted to make a big, beautiful movie, and you said to your casting department, get me who from central casting would you select as your dream customer or client? If it's a company, how big is the company? Who's buying? How much are they paying? What's involved to service that customer? Get really clear. Who's your perfect dream customer?
Okay. I think this is a good example. If I make a mobile application that works in locally here in my house, okay? So I can call my brother just for this local market. So I want to build, or make it over internet. Okay, this mobile application, I want to make it work over internet, not in local area. Okay, so how can I bring investor, someone that will support with money? Okay, you understand me?
I'm piecing it together. I don't right now, but keep going.
To invest in this program. And also how I can convince my client to use my service. And how to choose my client. Okay? For my idea, I found maybe more than 30 clients. I can give them this service. Okay? But how, when I go to them, how I can convince them with this service? It gives them a lot of benefits.
Couple things. You said those questions, each one of them are very good. They're big. I'm going to take the last one, and if you want, then you can Skype or email first. The last one is how do you get to the paper? You've given it away free to serve. You start there, right? Okay, and there are a lot of benefits, is what you said.
Yes.
You're telling me there are benefits. If there are benefits that they see, and you take it away from them, and they get upset, then you know that you have out.
Yes. This is the way I'm thinking. When I choose a client future facts, I am thinking about my client. I am thinking what I can offer them, and this service how can facilitate their works. Give them easy way, like for promotions, for advertising, for selling their products, something like this. I convince them about my service, how it will give them benefit and more profit. Okay? Let's talk about advertising. For example, about advertising. Advertising now it's in the street, in under buildings. I'm talking about in the style. What about transferring this advertising from buildings to homes? So I want to see what there are services or products for banks, for supermarkets, for libraries, for anything. I can see it in my home. If I want to buy a car, I can see all companies. And among that sells cars here in my home, what they offer. There's two parts here. One client at home that he will take advantage of my service, and the company that it will offer her product from my I'm working in a business, okay? But my language in English, I'm computer programming, okay? I can understand a bit the code, but I can't speak good. So if I talk to your email and explain my business for you, you will help me?
Yes.
To grow up. Yeah, I need his advice.
The simple answer is yes. I've already made that commitment to this group of people. Simple, yes. So the best way for us to do that, because we're getting to meet, and I wanted to go down the rabbit hole with you a little bit here, but it looks like it's going to take more time. So I'm on a flight tonight, but I'm Skyping. So we have more time to unpack over Skype.
Okay, my question. There's no chance for the yes, but maybe
You know my name.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
And why show up? They make it. You'll see my name's out there. You'll see it. That's my Skype. No, I'm done. 58 minutes. I brought everything. 58 minutes. I don't understand. I did already.
The lead from here to the lead airport.
Yeah. That way we'd have more time.
Recently, I was reading talk about Guardiola coach. I know Guardiola, Barcelona coach.
Okay.
He called his team player. He called his team player and discussed some issues over the match. And motivate them and give some idea and solution or wrong is following this. What the question in this article or in this piece? I see in this case, and I know how this coach be individual or other individuals give for not regular product second or individuals. Okay?
the coach أو
اسمع عادي تسألها بالعربي يقول لك ستيف عادي أنا ما بعرف أشتغل فرنسي وش سؤالك؟
ممكن يكون في مدرب كرة قدم يكون
Can a football coach be an entrepreneur? So what defines an entrepreneur? Can a football coach be an entrepreneur? Like someone, a team manager, could be an entrepreneur? That's his question. Because he's calling them at 3 a.m., calling the players, he needs that, the mentality of an entrepreneur.
He's trying to make all the things that you have said applicable to the article he read about the Barcelona team.
To make them think.
And, yeah, exactly. It's his own reflection.
Here's the best way I can sum up being an entrepreneur. I'm standing here right now, and there's some place that I'd rather be. And it's going to take me time, talent, and treasure. I need time, people, I need equipment, I need know-how, I need cash. And I can only eat 90 days worth at a time. I can hire a couple people, I can take a small office, I can do some lines of code, I can raise some money. And then when I get closer to where I want to be, I'm going to do more. I have in my mind a place that's so much better than where I am. And for me to get there is going to take figuring out time, talent, and treasure. Treasure is a term for money. I think like Pac-Man, right? Right then, this is the size of my backpack. And I have to eat money, I have to get real estate, I have to get employees, I have to get customers, I have to get customer service, all kinds of shit. I just have to this and great and awesome and dirty. The people are my best part of it. The raising money sucks. The figuring out problems sucks, but kind of fun when you do it. And then the next 90 days, more money, bigger money, more people, smarter people, more experienced people, bigger problems, bigger clients, little bit, little bit, little bit. My case, I needed 721,000. My goal was 721,000 individual clients to advise before I got to a good place. We didn't stop until 14 million. We get going. But what makes an entrepreneur is I want to get to that better place, and I work however, whatever, in whatever form to get there. So his place was a victory, a cup, and a team. So what's it going to take to get there? How much sponsorship, how many new players, how much conditioning and training, talent. So you could say that that's an entrepreneurial coach. He dreams or she dreams of a better, brighter, nicer place and tirelessly works to get there. And that effort is insane. It is semi-insane. Because everybody goes, yeah, until you say, no, I want 100 push-ups. Wait, what? We just did 100. Do them again. Do them again, or you're off the team. I want you to work until midnight. We have code to ship tomorrow. Either do it or you're fired. It's insane. And yet, people do it. And then, version 1.0.
So Ford was an entrepreneur. Henry Ford was an entrepreneur. And he wanted the V8 engine. Or was it the V6 engine?
He wanted a car in every drive.
Yeah, and he wanted the engine that the engineers told him it's not possible to be done. But he said, you know what? Take your time. It has to be done. That's in the Think and Grow Rich book. Maybe you saw it. You know what?
It's awesome that you're quoting Napoleon Hill. Yes, you're right. It is. No, really, it's a high compliment. How do you know that?
I love it.
So there are two things. There's entrepreneur, then there's innovator. Innovator is kind of like an entrepreneur. Innovator is solving a problem, a technical problem. You can hire innovators. Did I answer your question?
No? Yeah.
Okay. And you and I will
What we
offline.
call the facility
Drake Mosier, EDM, how Okay, good.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Mosier.
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 Nice. Scratch. Good.
Okay. So here's the thing also, I'm glad you're here, because this is a question I want you to take away with you. The question is, what kind of ROI can your customer expect to receive by using your product or service? And that's an incredibly dry way to say it, but it's real. Whoever buys your service or your product, what's their return on that investment? If they give you one shekel, if they give you 1,000, if they give you 1,000,000, what do they get for it? Honestly. Not a pat on the back. Meaningfully, what are you giving them in exchange? You should get really clear on that. And you should be able to say that to your mother or to the mirror. And if the answer is thin and weak, it's going to play thin and weak in the market. But if you say, oh my God, you're not charging me, because that's awesome. What is the ROI? What will your customer value what you've just done with them at? You've heard this before, I'm going to say it again, I have to say it again because not everybody here gets it. What pain are you solving? You wake up in the morning, you have vitamins, you're sick, and you have medicine. Each of you should be in the business of selling medicine, not vitamins. This is a nice to have, this is a gotta have. If you're selling something that people have to have, it's an easier conversation to have.
Another story. If you, I hear you say, if you offer something people have to have, it will be easy to get for them.
I said it would be easy to have that conversation. Which means now
you
you're
can
talking.
convince them about what you are saying. If you were on something people have to have, it will be easy conversation to convince them. This is what you mean.
I do mean that. I'm hesitating because the point is about convincing. If you build something that's meaningfully, in a high quality way, a solution, you don't convince them. You just provide it. And make it available. That doesn't mean that you have to sell it.
Because people have to have it.
For whatever reason, they have a problem. They have a problem with the morning commute. They have a problem with the shower head in their shower. They have a problem with the water temperature. They have a problem with their teacup. They have a problem with the flavor of their coffee. They have a problem with their retirement plan. Whatever the problem is. And you say, hey, I have a solution to that. And they're like, oh my God, where have you? I just cursed at my husband this morning because of this.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Oh, 2% better than what I'm already doing and I didn't think about it for last week? You could probably make a business on it, but it's hard. You have to sell it very hard, and it's just not enough there for us. So if you have to start a new company, and you're thinking about ideas, think of one that's a gotta have, not a nice to have. And if it's just nice to have, we have a sweeter orange juice. Novel, innovative, but is it something somebody has to have? Am I answering your question?
But you can always do it in a way to present it as if it is something you've got to have, but in fact it's not. I mean, before Facebook, nobody would think like, oh, I need to have something as Facebook to connect with people, etc., etc. It's about creating a new brand, a new thing that people they can get hooked into and respect. It doesn't have to be like an issue that you should solve. You just have to tell people you have a creator. And it appears to the people that, oh shoot, this is a problem that I have to solve.
So terrific, by the way. New category, right? Here's the thing though. When the Facebook was created, the problem it solved was the directory. There was a phone directory for all Harvard alum. And so you go to the directory and you have to find and match the name, send an email, and hope. He came up with the directory with pictures. Everybody wished that was already done, but it's too expensive to print, and people aren't sitting in the dorms anyway. So he came up with the
So
way.
the idea comes from fear. The idea for Facebook comes from fear.
From where?
From what?
Yes. So the problem was, how does he find hot chicks? And when you go to the school directory, you couldn't tell which chick was hot.
What I want, the website that he had, me, how to run.
Well, like it, yeah. Like it. Okay. So, so the thing is what?
الشاب دائما انه يدور على شيء الشاب دائما كان يدور انه على شيء ناس بدها اياه زي ما هو بيحكي انه والله انا محتاج للدورات ضروري على الدورات بس مش محتاج لفيتامين دي مناخ ممكن انا اطور خدمه معينه يعني مثلا في احنا بنلاقي من our countries when you are working you are going to work in writing in paper okay but in other countries you can vote from your home
برضه بيسهل حياة الناس
not only needed something needed maybe it gives facilitating for life
Something that way that becomes a need because we have a busy life, we don't have time to do such stuff every day. Especially for him, voting over online, it's like vitamin. You can use it or not. This is already right.
No. But not the success of our project not depend only on that we will need this product or we will need this service. Also about facilitating their life. Maybe give them something facilitate their life.
When it's something that we don't need, لما يكون شيء مش محتاجينه بيصيروا بيدفعوا عليه فكر يفكر طيب هل يستاهل الشيء اللي يستاهل فيه ولا لا؟ إذا شيء أنا محتاجه بحكي شيء رسماني لو 10 شيء لا هذا هو قصدي بس هل بدك تجيب الزبون
شو الحاجة؟ أنا أحط 10 شيء، شو بدك في المقابل؟ يقول لك ليش أنا أحط 10 شيء في الموقع عندك؟ هذا هو الكلام. أنا ليش أعطيك 10 شيء؟ شو بدك في المقابل؟
ماشي أنت حاجة
أنا شو العائد من الخدمة اللي أنا بعطيك شو زي هذا كله بحكيك
So, some of the ideas that I'm giving you guys right now are meant to save you a lot of headaches. You're not going to practically be able to act on everything I'm saying, but since you're brand new businesses, this is the time. For example, if you're taking a step on what your feature set, what market, what product you have is, and you get to decide over the next 2 months, if of the 3, 4, 5, 10 paths to market that you have in your mind available to you, if one of them solves a real problem, pain, that somebody is pissed off, hurt, upset by, versus, oh, that would be really nice.
Yes, I would choose this.
If you have that, choose that. What I'm saying is if you get to choose that. I'm saying that so clearly that if you don't get to choose, and this is the only one, don't do this business. Because every single sale will be a brand new fight. You will fight for it, and your cost of getting that sale after 1 year will be so great that you won't have profit. You'll be beaten up, frustrated, disappointed that people don't see how smart you are. It just sucks. This is a horrible path. Most entrepreneurs take this path, which is fucking insane. Don't do it. Don't start the business at all. Just stop right now. That sounds harsh, but I mean it. So if you get the choice, what
what is that? I call it a snag. It's like Velcro. Velcro catches pantyhose, catches a silk tie, catches a thread in a sweater. It catches them. What is that in the day of a person? Find that.
Next torch. Let's see how.
Okay, so this one, let's go read them out and then go. How are you selling? How are you selling? What do I mean by that? What does the sales process look like and how long is the sales cycle? We talked about that today. So to knock on the door, from the time you knock on the door to the time they renew the contract, they buy the second. One time, that's good, but not enough. You want loyal customers. So let's set the bar high. That you want them to re-up, to re-sign a contract. You want a long-term relationship. So if this is the hurdle, and you're starting here, what do you have to do to get to that? What's your sales cycle look like? Some of you have a sales cycle that's 18 months. 24 months. Red Crow. Terrific, many. Terrific idea, love it. Some of the clients are going to be long sales cycles, so he has to plan the business. So some short sales cycle, keeping the business, while he's making the bigger, longer-term sale. But let me get more specific. So how are you going to reach them? And what is it going to cost to get that? Now you're like, how do I know? You have to know. So you're going to ask them basic questions. From the time you make the phone call, will they answer the phone? From the time you knock on the door, from the time you send the email, will they answer the email? Will they answer the call? Will they open the door? 100% of the time? Of course not. So you're going to have to make some guesses. How long will it take you to get the first pitch? And then once they get it, until money gets exchanged or they agree and they use the service, you're going to have to walk through that process. My recommendation, write it down on a piece of paper. Type it on your computer. And don't worry about anybody seeing it. Just literally force the thoughts out of your head. What's going to happen is you're making some assumptions right now. I've spoken to some of you and asked you some questions, and you were forced to reveal some feelings, some ideas that you had. And when you answered it, I saw the look in your face was like, whoa, did that just come out of my mouth? Like, I guess I don't really believe that. That's awesome. When we flush those assumptions out and they're not solid, that saves you a lot of trouble. But let's do it on the front end. So what does the sales cycle look like? How long is it? How do you reach them? Literally, do you call them? Do you email them? Do you put advertisements? Do you ask your parents and your neighbors? How do you get to them? Okay, this is, I'm deep diving. I'm not going to go the whole way through on this with you. But every single investor is going to ask you about what I'm about to put on the board. And every one of you is going to want me to go through. I can spend 2 hours on the picture I'm about to draw. I'm not going to spend 2 minutes on it. Sorry. Who's that? Okay, so this here is all the people that come in contact with your company, come in contact with it. Not your clients. The people who come out here, I call the nectar. The sweetest, most nutrient-rich, the most awesome. What's that? That's the second contract. That's the repeat customer. So I talk to 1 million people and they get 1,000. What's involved in the angle, the slope of that, the flange of the funnel? It usually has stages, right? What's involved to get here? That's easy. What's involved to get a second-year contract? Well, they have to have had a first-year contract. They have to sign the contract for the second year. As you work your way back up the funnel, up here, they don't know you. They're all brand new. They've never heard of you. Maybe they know you personally, but they don't know your brand. So this is tough. To get them to stop long enough just to hear the name of your company and then ask what it does. So your sales funnel is probably 60% of the effort after you build your first half product. You don't even get the product built by the time the sales funnel started. Any investor wants to know how you're going to make money. The sales funnel is a mental map that you will use for taking all the people in your community, in your industry, and bringing them to the point where they agree after using your product or service to repeat buying. This is a way of saying this. There's the business of writing code and creating interesting ideas and websites or solutions for bidding on things of value. There's the business of writing code. Then there's the business of running the business of writing code, and they're two very different skill sets. You have coders and you have business managers. And you guys are saying, I want to be both, which is why I think you're insane. And you are. But in the best possible. Okay, on that same topic, so how do you acquire customers? What I mean by this, what does it cost you? I asked you about the email or the phone call with the door-to-door. What does it cost you to get off your ass, to go into the car, drive to wherever, knock on the door, wait some period of time that you're not in the office, have the conversation, answer whatever questions they have, show them, demonstrate, give examples, get back in the car, drive back. What does that cost? And did they say yes and give you cash? If they didn't say yes and give you cash, then you have to follow up. So what does that cost? 45 minutes? Right now, you say it's free because I'm an entrepreneur and I make nothing anyway. Okay, how many 45-minute frees do you add up before the sale gets made? You have to think about what will it take to get to the yes, and right now you're guessing. Fail fast. We started there. Go out and find out how long it's going to take to get a sale. And don't take your mom or your neighbor, because that's tough. Because they'll say yes right away, and you'll be like, oh my God, everybody's going to, you know what I'm saying. So the sooner you get to answering that question with a number, you can then test it. It's going to take me 2 months and $1,000 equivalent. Okay, fine. Hopefully you're wrong, but whatever, that's testable. If you find out it happens in a month and a half and 750, change your number. Because I'm, as an investor, going to sit down with you and say, so tell me what's your cost of acquisition? Simple little thing, you walk me through all this shit. So you need to get a real handle on it because that's going to affect profitability, growth rate, so many. What's your cost of acquisition? How long does it take? And then you guys have heard this already, lifetime value. Anybody haven't heard that concept? What's the lifetime value of a customer? If they haven't, you guys will cover that with them. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to condense 15 more questions into one single. Here's the hypothetical scenario. It's an app. Okay? An app. So I'm going to pretend like I'm talking to you about product design and UX, not UI. Do you know the difference if I say UX and UI?
User experience, user interface.
Okay. Those are the terms. True, good, and awesome. Now, can you tell me the difference between the skill set required to do UX and UI? All right. So, in America right now, the 4 biggest venture capital firms, Andreessen Horowitz, Kleiner Perkins, Mayfield, and Sequoia, they're kind of the shit. In this year, 2014, they've hired internally capital D designers, not graphic designers, not UI, not even UX, capital D designers that are usually industrial designers with biological science backgrounds, multidisciplinary, like astronauts, basically. They brought them in-house. Clyde Perkins hired John Maida, who was the president of the Rhode Island School of Design. An incredibly accomplished man to come in and be a partner in design. They say to John, go to all Clyde Perkins. They funded every company you've ever heard of. I'm exaggerating, but they've had it their feet wet. Go to all of our portfolio companies and do a design review. So John Maida goes into every CEO, every one of you, and he sits down and says, hey, I've seen your website. Do you have a designer on staff? Pause. I said, first question he says is having good design on your app important to you? Oh my God, it's so important. We're design centric. We like it. We really love it. So, have you hired a designer? Most say no. Because he defines what he means by design. Like no. He says good, then hire. Every once in a while, one of the companies would say, and this is since April of this year, by the way, this is very current thinking. Somebody would say, yes, I hired a designer. He'd say, good, hire a second.
Okay.
There's a reason why I'm saying this to you. UX, and for this example, we're going to pick an app, and the app's going to be called WordLens. I'm picking an example. Okay, so from the time that I tap the app, it sounds like I'm doing a rep sign on that one with it. Tap the app to the time that I set it down on my table or desk. What happened? What was my tap path? More to the point, when I get my question answered or my problem solved, do I get my question answered and problem solved? In a perfect world, here's what happens. And WordLens is this weird, freaky, magical kind of app where I take this camera, see the camera, and I can put it over anything written in French, and it will translate in the font of the writing into English, or Italian, or Spanish, or German. I haven't tried it. I haven't seen it. Having said that, when you put it over in the font of, so here's what I do. What's my tap path? My tap path is launch the app, point the camera, read, close the app, thumb down. Holy fuck. It's just yours isn't going to work like that, most likely. How many physical thumb taps from launch, if you want to be tough, from turn the phone? Be honest. Launch, then what? Do they have to register the first time? How many taps? Count them. They've registered. How do they use it? They've never used it. Is it easy? Until they set the phone down and done. What is the tap? And why am I taking this? How many? Right? Yes. So here's the thing. When it comes to value proposition, the more work you do to make it simple, the more valuable it becomes. Simple, we have a jurist, we have a judge on the Supreme Court in the United States from a long time ago. His name is Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. And he was a judge, a wise judge. And he said, I wouldn't give a fig for simplicity on this side of complexity, but I'd lay down my life for simplicity on the other side. So whatever service or product it is that you're offering, if you figured it out and really cracked it out of it, shopping for something fresh for this population in this city right now. If you really cracked it, from the time I tap number one, am I satisfied? Do I feel whatever I had that was bugging me, is it now gone? And what did it take me to get there? I just showed you an example that's an absurdly high hurdle. Tap to launch, point, read, close. Come on. It's not going to work that easy. Mine's not going to work. But that's the guideline. So when we talk about value proposition, you going through the exercise of plotting and mapping your tap down. Most of you, when you do it, you're going to get a little sick of yourself. When you think about how many steps are involved to get to resolution, to get to completion, to get to success, that's okay. Go back to doing, fail fast, iterate again. It's like picking sand. You brought one more verb, one more verb, one more verb, one more verb, until you get something that feels smooth. The experience is smooth. From a value proposition point of view, you take that smooth thing and you hand it to the next network node out, to the next buyer, to the next ad group or buyer group port, and you let them tell you this is 50% less time, less complication, less cost than the next. Or not. Pause.
No, sorry, I wanted to give, there is a very solid recent example of this, the website SoundCloud, you know what?
Yeah.
SoundCloud, when it came out, there was a very strong competition between it and the Reverb Nation. Have you heard of Reverb Nation? Exactly, that's the point. That SoundCloud offered ultimate simplicity for me as an artist. Anyone, just record, publish, that's it. Reverb Nation had dozens and dozens of settings and configurations. It was far more superior in terms of options. Reverb Nation does not compare to SoundCloud nowadays. SoundCloud has a user base of millions and millions, and the Reverb Nation is shrinking. The simplicity in the user interface, the 1, 2, 3 approach that record something, upload it, publish it, that's it. It's amazing. That's a very good example.
It's a very good example.
For me, connected with what you were saying, that just take off your phone, take a picture, read, put it down. And that's what SoundCloud did. And I think that if you really want to mean success, there are lots of examples. iPhone started good. The iOS with the menus and stuff. Any setting that you want to reach, it would take 2, 3 clicks. But
that was by design, though. That was not accidental. That was very. So the whiteboards that they threw away were in the thousands to get to each single app being that easy to use. They started out with all the features, all the complications.
The thing is, like, you always have this at the back of your head, and you always think that there's something else that you need to offer them. For this value proposition to be there, you actually have to add another point to the path. And the more things that accumulate within your value proposition, the longer the path is going to be. And this is the dilemma that you get in. Do you want it to be simple but sort of pale, or do you want it to be rich but complex?
So one of the funny things about this is we talk about this in Silicon Valley all the time, and it's this notion of we have lots of terms for feature creep, featureitis, a product in search of a market. There are so many times when an engineer builds some really cool, oh my God, look what I got my computer to do, and it's exciting, and they show it to people, and they're like, I don't have this problem, or how do I? Deciding what turns you on as a builder versus what solves the problem. Aristotle said, ask better questions. The better question is, what problem is this that you want to solve?
So
that's the question. What problem is it solving? And then you're constrained. Your development energies are forced into a very sharp focus, which means that it's possible to get a simple path. The moment you get turned on by your own tech, and you lose connection with your customer, and now it's not about solving their problem, it's about, well, I could do this, and I could do this, and it would be great if I had 62 different, how awesome is that, Microsoft Word? at the bloatiest of its bloatware stage. What does Microsoft Word look like now? One single ribbon on the top. Remember what it was just 3, 4, 5 years ago? I mean, so it takes a long time to write a short story. Your job is to take all that time and condense it to its simplest form. Now, you don't have to do what I'm saying, but if you want to build a company that can succeed throughout MENA, throughout the US, throughout Latin America, throughout Asia, you have to have craft what others have. That's no magic, all hard work, and it takes perseverance to get there, but that's what I'm saying the same thing to people in Palo Alto. So, in response to your question, what happens if you have 15 more features? Here's the thing, what problem you solve. It takes 15 features to solve it. If it really does, then it's a 200-step problem today, and 15 is a lot shorter. But if it's just, ooh, gee whiz, look what I can do here, you have to have internal discipline to say, not stop, but pause. Maybe you'll incorporate them in some future solution. But for right now, what's the problem? We already walked through it. What's my solution, and what's it going to take me to sell it? Remembering the very first thing, which was, get it out fast. So if you're willing to fail fast, you can go through that cycle again and again, until about the 30th, 40th time, and then it's going to be like, oh my God, my neighbor said she was using this inverse, which I had happened. I don't even have a product yet. But the woman who takes my money for my electricity, the utility company, she said, I was talking to her, she told me what you were working on. I want that. I swear to God. I said, really? I said, would you consider being my beta site? Palo Alto Utility Company is my first beta site. Because she said, but it can't work that simple. I know you're not going to. I said, that's what I'm building. So now I'm in trouble because I got to deliver a very simple solution.
Yeah.
But it was so compelling that I had somebody sell it on my behalf because there's no way that's possible. So I, at least with authenticity, say to you, I'm practicing what I preach. It takes a lot of work. Okay.
Because I think
I'm sorry to be the bad guy.
Any other, one last question? I'm here. So my email address is Drake, D-R-A-K-E, I'm talking, you're right. No, I'm giving you my email right now, right? I'm just, because I like it, good question. Drake.Mosier, so D-R-A. That's okay,
Okay. But sometimes I don't hear the data is good.
Drake, you're going to add your everything possible. I'm going to add your everything possible. Yes, sir.